A paralyzed soldier mom and her 10-year-old daughter struggle to survive, until a kind mechanic and a mysterious billionaire change their lives forever. But neither of them know they're about to uncover a family secret worth millions. Like, share and subscribe and tell us where you're watching from. Now let's get started. After returning from a grueling deployment overseas, Sergeant Maria Thompson faced a world that felt almost alien to her. The life she had once known, the camaraderie of her unit, the adrenaline of missions, the sense of purpose was gone, replaced by the quiet hum of suburban streets and the constant reminder of what she had lost. A roadside explosion had left her wheelchair-bound, and every day brought both physical pain and emotional challenges she had never anticipated. Yet Maria refused to let despair define her. She had her 10-year-old daughter, Lily, who was her reason to keep moving forward, to keep fighting, even when the nights felt unbearably long and the world seemed indifferent to her struggles. Living in a modest home on the outskirts of a quiet American town, Maria juggled medical bills, therapy sessions, and the simple but exhausting routines of daily life. The small kitchen echoed with the sounds of Lily's laughter and occasional cries, the reminders of a life that was both beautiful and heartbreakingly fragile. Maria often found herself staring out the window at the neatly manicured lawns and sleek SUVs of neighbors she barely knew, wondering how different her life could have been if she hadn't chosen to serve, if fate hadn't dealt her this cruel hand. One crisp morning, as she wheeled herself down the driveway to fix the old wheelchair that had started squeaking again, she struggled to adjust the gears and tighten the loose bolts. Lily, perched nearby with her favorite storybook, watched her mother with wide, admiring eyes. "Don't worry, Mom, you can do it," she said, her small voice full of hope and innocence. Maria smiled, though her heart ached at the burden she carried. Just then, a neighbor, Jack, a local mechanic in his late 20s, with kind eyes and a gentle demeanor, noticed her from across the street. He had seen Maria and Lily before, often walking past their home while delivering groceries or running errands. Something about Maria's determination, the way she refused to surrender to her circumstances, struck him deeply. Jack crossed the street without hesitation, offering a hand to steady the wheelchair and tools to help with the repairs. "I can give you a hand," he said simply, his voice warm and unassuming. Maria hesitated at first, pride and caution mingling in her mind, but ultimately accepted. Together, they adjusted the wheelchair, tightened the bolts, and even added a few modifications Jack thought could help Lily maneuver more easily. As they worked, Maria shared fragments of her story, her deployment, the accident, the daily struggles she faced, and Jack listened, genuinely moved by her courage. He didn't offer empty sympathy or pity. Instead, he offered practical support and encouragement, a rare combination that made Maria feel seen in a way she hadn't in years. After finishing the repairs, Jack stood back and watched Lily navigate the wheelchair down the driveway with newfound ease. The girl's laughter echoed through the crisp morning air, a sound that seemed to lift some of the weight from Maria's shoulders. "She's a quick learner," Jack said with a smile. Maria's eyes filled with tears, both from gratitude and the bittersweet realization of how hard life had been for them. Over the next few weeks, Jack became a regular presence, stopping by to check on the wheelchair, offering small fixes and adjustments, and even bringing lunch or snacks for Maria and Lily. His kindness, quiet and consistent, began to chip away at the isolation Maria had felt since returning from deployment. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to Maria, Eleanor Winters, a sophisticated and influential billionaire in her early 40s, was keeping a discreet eye on the neighborhood. Eleanor had always valued discretion and subtle observation, a habit formed from years of managing a vast fortune and a high-profile life. What caught her attention that day was not the neighborhood itself, but the sight of a mother and daughter navigating life with courage despite visible hardship. Eleanor had been searching for a long-lost family member for years, a quest fueled by both intuition and careful investigation. Something about the bond between Maria and Lily, their resilience, and the warmth between them resonated deeply within Eleanor. She made a mental note to learn more about them, though she remained careful, determined not to alarm or overwhelm. Life in this small American suburb went on, a delicate rhythm of challenges and small victories. Maria continued her therapy sessions, Lily excelled in school, and Jack's support became a comforting constant. Despite her physical limitations, Maria refused to let her life be defined by her injuries. She joined local support groups, volunteered occasionally at community events, and even found moments to teach Lily about resilience, empathy, and hope. Every night, as they sat together in their modest living room, Maria would read stories to Lily, or simply talk about their day, instilling lessons of perseverance and love. The weight of their past struggles was ever present, but so was the unwavering bond between mother and daughter. And though neither Maria nor Lily could have anticipated it, fate had a way of weaving paths together. Eleanor, observing from a distance, began to piece together the threads of their lives, slowly realizing that this family, living quietly and with dignity despite hardship, was more than it seemed. Her curiosity turned into quiet determination. She would find a way to connect without startling them, to offer not just opportunity, but a sense of belonging and family that had long been missing from their lives. The days passed, each filled with small gestures of courage and moments of shared joy. Jack continued his quiet acts of kindness, ensuring that the wheelchair worked flawlessly, teaching Lily small tricks to navigate independently, and offering Maria reassurance when doubt crept in. Maria, despite her exhaustion, found herself inspired by Jack's generosity, the unwavering love of her daughter, and the subtle yet profound sense that their lives were about to change in ways she could never have imagined. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the suburban rooftops, casting long golden shadows across the driveway, Maria looked at Lily rolling effortlessly on the repaired wheelchair. A smile broke across her face, genuine and unburdened. For the first time in months, she felt a flicker of hope that life might hold more than hardship and struggle. Somewhere beyond the horizon, Eleanor Winters quietly plotted a meeting that could alter the course of their lives forever, connecting past and present, struggle and opportunity, in a way that would define the future for Maria, Lily, and the stranger who had already begun to touch their hearts with acts of compassion. Eleanor Winters, an elegant and poised billionaire in her early 40s, had spent years maintaining a meticulously controlled life of wealth, influence, and social prominence, but beneath the glossy surface, a persistent emptiness lingered, an absence she could never fill with money, travel, or lavish parties. That absence had a name, a secret she had guarded for years, a long-lost family member whose whereabouts had eluded her despite her relentless searches and private investigators combing records across the country. Eleanor had never revealed her quest to anyone, keeping it hidden even from her closest advisors, because the thought of finally finding them stirred both hope and fear within her. One sunny afternoon, during a local neighborhood charity fair meant to support underprivileged families, Eleanor's attention was unexpectedly captured by a small, moving scene, a mother confined to a wheelchair, gently guiding her 10-year-old daughter, Lily, with laughter and tender encouragement despite the obstacles life had placed before them. Something about the mother's posture, the daughter's bright eyes, and the quiet resilience of their interaction tugged at Eleanor's intuition, sending a shiver through her that she could not ignore. She observed discreetly, taking in every detail, the worn yet cared-for wheelchair, the small patches of scraped skin on Lily's knees from her adventures, the quiet determination in Maria's eyes as she guided her child through the crowd with dignity and warmth. That evening, back in the privacy of her sprawling mansion, Eleanor could not shake the image of the duo from her mind. She pulled out years of old family records, photographs and private journals, carefully cross-referencing every detail she could recall about the family she had lost contact with long ago. Her heart raced as patterns began to emerge, subtle yet unmistakable. until one realization struck her with a force that made her catch her breath. The girl she had observed that day, the child so full of life despite challenges, was her niece, and the woman guiding her, Maria, was a key figure connected to her own hidden family legacy. The revelation brought both excitement and trepidation. Eleanor understood the power of such knowledge, the potential to change lives forever, but she also recognized the delicacy required. Maria had no idea about the fortune, the legacy, or the connections she unknowingly carried, and Eleanor wanted to approach carefully, ensuring that fear or overwhelm would not overshadow the potential for love and support. Over the next several days, Eleanor conducted a quiet investigation, discreetly observing Maria and Lily from a distance, watching their routines, noting their interactions, and confirming the facts she had pieced together. She felt a growing admiration, not for the wealth they could inherit, but for the strength, resilience, and deep bond that defined their lives. It became clear to her that this was not just a reunion of fortune, but a reunion of hearts and spirits long separated by circumstance. Eleanor drafted careful plans, weighing each option for approaching Maria and Lily. She considered introducing herself indirectly through local community programs or sending a discreet letter, but ultimately decided that a personal, face-to-face meeting, handled with warmth and transparency, would honor their humanity and the genuine connection she wished to establish. Meanwhile, Maria remained unaware of the storm of discovery that was approaching her life. Her days were filled with the steady rhythm of care, managing therapy schedules, attending school functions with Lily, and maintaining her small household despite the constant physical challenges posed by her injuries. Jack continued to be a supportive presence, his quiet assistance creating a buffer against the overwhelming demands of daily life. He had grown fond of both Maria and Lily, sensing the depth of their struggle and the resilience that allowed them to persevere. His efforts were small but meaningful, fixing the wheelchair, repairing minor household issues, and offering companionship that Maria had come to rely on. For Maria, life remained a mixture of gratitude and exhaustion. She treasured the small joys, like Lily's laughter, a warm cup of coffee in the morning, or the rare quiet moments of peace in her living room. Yet she could not ignore the persistent anxiety of financial instability, medical expenses, and the longing for a life that felt both safe and sustainable for her daughter. As Eleanor prepared for their meeting, she considered carefully how to communicate the truth without frightening them or creating a sense of obligation. She knew that revealing the inheritance and family connections too abruptly could overwhelm Maria, who had been carrying the weight of responsibility alone for so many years. Instead, she planned to lead with empathy, acknowledging Maria's strength, offering support, and emphasizing that this revelation was not about judgment or expectation, but about love, belonging, and opportunity. When the day finally arrived, Eleanor approached Maria's home with calm confidence, choosing to knock on the door personally rather than sending a representative. Maria, caught by surprise, hesitated as she opened the door, unsure of the elegant woman standing before her and wary of strangers who often asked too much or offered empty promises. Eleanor's warm smile and gentle introduction immediately softened the tension, as she spoke not of wealth or legacy, but of recognition, admiration, and connection. "I've been looking for you," she said simply, her voice steady yet kind, "and I think we may have more in common than you realize." Maria blinked, confused, skeptical, yet intrigued as Eleanor carefully explained the fragments of her investigation, the details that confirmed their connection, and the discovery that Lily was indeed her niece. The shock was immediate. Maria's mind raced, processing the reality that her quiet, struggling life intersected with a legacy she had never imagined. Fear, disbelief, and hope collided within her as Eleanor emphasized that their bond, not the inheritance, was what truly mattered. Eleanor's words were deliberate and compassionate, focusing on the recognition of Maria's strength, Lily's bright potential, and the opportunity for a supportive, nurturing relationship rather than a transactional one. Slowly, Maria's skepticism softened, replaced by cautious curiosity, as Eleanor invited her and Lily to visit her home, see the environment they could be part of, and explore the possibilities without pressure or expectation. Jack, standing nearby as a silent support, offered a reassuring smile, his presence grounding Maria amidst the whirlwind of revelations. That evening, Maria reflected on the day's events, feeling a mixture of excitement, anxiety, and cautious hope. She understood that life could change in an instant, and that while money and status were secondary, the chance to form a real family connection, to have someone who genuinely cared, was invaluable. Eleanor's approach had been gentle, respectful, and profoundly human, leaving Maria with the sense that she was not being judged or obligated, but invited into something bigger than herself. Over the next few weeks, Eleanor maintained contact, ensuring Maria and Lily felt safe, respected, and empowered to make choices at their own pace. She introduced small gestures of support, arranging for additional mobility aids, helping with school resources, and creating spaces where Lily could thrive without losing the essence of her childhood. Gradually, Maria began to see Eleanor not just as a benefactor, but as a potential family, someone who could share in their joys, support their struggles, and honor the resilience they had cultivated together. By the time Maria visited Eleanor's mansion, she was prepared emotionally and mentally to absorb the reality of her connection, understanding that wealth and legacy were secondary to the love, respect, and support that Eleanor offered. The meeting marked the beginning of a new chapter, one in which the past struggles were acknowledged, the present was embraced, and the future held the promise of belonging, opportunity, and the unwavering support of someone who had longed to find them as much as they had longed for safety, stability, and love. When Maria and Lily finally arrived at Eleanor Winter's sprawling mansion, the sheer magnitude and elegance of the estate left them momentarily speechless. The manicured gardens, the marble floors, and the crystal chandeliers were worlds apart from the modest home they had always known, yet Eleanor's warm, genuine presence immediately put them at ease. She greeted them with a smile that radiated kindness, a softness in her eyes that conveyed understanding rather than judgment. As they stepped inside, Eleanor began to gently explain the truth she had discovered over months of careful investigation, revealing that Lily was her niece, and Maria had unknowingly been caring for someone with a direct connection to the Winters family. The revelation sent a whirlwind of emotions through Maria: shock, disbelief, anxiety, and an overwhelming sense of relief that someone finally understood the depth of her struggles. Eleanor emphasized that wealth and inheritance were secondary to the bond they could now share, reassuring Maria that she was not being asked to change who she was or how she had raised Lily. Maria, still processing the enormity of the truth, felt a mixture of awe and fear as she realized the doors this new connection could open, not just for her daughter but for herself. Jack, who had accompanied them to offer moral support, gave a reassuring nod, silently letting Maria know that she was not alone in navigating this new chapter. Eleanor invited them to walk through the house, showing small gestures of care and preparation. Lily's favorite books and toys waiting in a cozy room, accessible ramps already installed for Maria's wheelchair, and a backyard space designed to be safe and fun for a child with mobility needs. Every detail was deliberate, every gesture infused with the knowledge of their struggles and the desire to create an environment where they could thrive without fear or limitation. As the day progressed, Maria observed Eleanor not just as a wealthy benefactor, but as a compassionate guide, someone who had spent years preparing to welcome them without overwhelming them, someone who respected their autonomy and valued their courage. Conversations flowed naturally, shifting from family history to personal dreams and everyday routines. Maria shared stories of her deployment, the accident, and her struggles raising Lily on her own, while Eleanor listened intently, offering insight, encouragement, and moments of genuine laughter that helped dissolve tension. Lily, initially shy in the grandeur of the mansion, quickly warmed to Eleanor's presence, fascinated by the space and charmed by the kindness she radiated. It became evident to Maria that the mansion was not a symbol of distance or power, but a setting in which love, understanding, and family could grow. Eleanor, aware of the fragile balance between wonder and overwhelm, ensured that every interaction was paced, letting Maria and Lily absorb each revelation and adjustment at their own comfort level. Over the following weeks, a careful rhythm developed. Maria found herself visiting the mansion regularly, slowly integrating into Eleanor's life while still maintaining the routines she had always relied upon. Jack continued to support them, bridging the familiar comfort of their past life with the emerging opportunities and resources Eleanor offered. Maria's confidence grew not from wealth or status, but from the knowledge that she was no longer alone, that she had people who cared deeply about her and Lily, and that her struggles were met with respect rather than judgment. Eleanor introduced educational opportunities for Lily, therapy resources for Maria, and community events that allowed both mother and daughter to connect with others in meaningful ways. The transition, though gradual, was transformative. Maria discovered renewed hope. Lily flourished academically and socially, and Eleanor found a long-sought connection that brought warmth and purpose to her own life. Together, they celebrated small victories, the first successful solo wheelchair navigation of the mansion's ramps, a new friendship for Lily at school, a therapy milestone for Maria, and even simple family dinners that were filled with laughter and conversation. Jack's presence remained a constant reassurance, his support blending seamlessly into the new family dynamic that was forming. As months passed, Maria realized that the true value of Eleanor's introduction was not material, but emotional. The bond between them deepened, anchored in shared experiences, mutual respect, and a profound appreciation for resilience. Wealth and opportunity were present, but they were merely tools that allowed the family to focus on what truly mattered: love, connection, and the ability to grow together. Eleanor's patient approach allowed Maria to maintain her identity while embracing the possibilities of a future she had never imagined. Lily, bright and curious, thrived in the newfound environment, her laughter and energy filling the mansion with life and reminding everyone present of the joy that could emerge from even the most challenging circumstances. Maria, reflecting on the journey from the small, struggling home she had known to the warmth and resources now surrounding them, felt a profound sense of gratitude. She understood that while life had been harsh, it had also prepared her to embrace this new chapter with strength, compassion, and clarity. Eleanor, observing the transformation, felt a quiet satisfaction that went beyond wealth or accomplishment. She had found the family she had been searching for, and in doing so, had created a space where love and support could flourish authentically. Together, they began planning not just the practical aspects of their future, but the moments that would define their lives: birthdays celebrated with care, school milestones attended with pride, therapy achievements acknowledged with joy, and quiet evenings spent in shared conversation and laughter. The mansion became more than a house. It became a home filled with hope, resilience, and the knowledge that past struggles did not define them, but rather prepared them for a future enriched by family, compassion, and unwavering support. As time went on, Maria's confidence grew, Lily's curiosity expanded, and Eleanor's heart softened in ways that only genuine connection could inspire. The three of them, along with Jack, who remained a steadfast friend and ally, navigated the blend of past challenges and new opportunities with grace, patience, and humor. In this carefully nurtured environment, the mother-daughter duo could flourish. Eleanor could finally experience the joy of family she had longed for, and Jack could witness the transformative power of kindness, courage, and love. The story of Maria, Lily, and Eleanor became a testament to the idea that even in the face of adversity, hope and compassion can create extraordinary change. From a chance encounter in a quiet suburban neighborhood to the revelation of a long-lost family connection, their journey illustrated that wealth, while helpful, was secondary to the bonds formed through empathy, resilience, and unwavering support. Maria embraced her role not just as a mother, but as a partner in shaping a family that transcended circumstances. Lily blossomed under the care and encouragement of both women, and Eleanor finally understood that her search for family was fulfilled not by inheritance alone, but by love and shared human connection. Together, they built a life where laughter, hope, and courage intertwined seamlessly, proving that true legacy is measured not in riches, but in the depth of relationships, the strength of character, and the warmth of hearts united against life's challenges.